Joining us, Chloe Dobbs, political commentator, to chat through some of these stories. I know, Chloe, you're a die-hard Starmer girl. I know it.
Of course.
Underneath that veneer of being more to the right lies a giggling, screaming lefty waiting to get out. Is that right?
Well, never say never. Maybe one day I'll turn into a die-hard communist. But on the basis of the performance I've seen so far from the Starmer government, I can't say that I'm too impressed and ready to sign up for the Labour Party.
And it's funny, it never happens that way, does it? There's a lot of old lefties who do become conservative and more right-wing. But you very rarely get somebody of the right who decides, no, I think those on the extreme left have got it right. I don't think that's a phrase anyone ever uttered.
I mean, I would say that actually, as I've gotten older, I have maybe become less right-wing in that I used to be, very, very libertarian. I actually used to be, we're probably going to talk about immigration, the thing that Keir Starmer left out of his speech today, which is now something which I'm very concerned about. But before I used to be, completely open borders and we need a very, very tiny state. We just need them to run like nuclear defences. But then I became a bit more pragmatic, and maybe that makes me tiny bit more left-wing policy-wise.
Do you think so? I don't know.
I'm still very much on the right.
Yeah,
generally.
I don't think anyone would call you left-wing, Chloe. I think that's fair. So listen, look, what about Starmer? He's unveiled his plan for change. Don't call them pledges, by the way. If either of us utter the word pledge, apparently that leads a surplus to requirements, because they're not pledges, they're aims, they are pillars. They are anything but their first steps, their missions, but they're not pledges, Chloe. But he's going to make life better for all of us. That's essentially the key message here.
Well, I mean, his plan for change was just about as exciting as his Christmas lights turn on, full of charisma.
Oh, hang on, that was good. That was good.
I
mean, that was like Santa Claus himself had turned up, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, he's made a bunch of pledges, and he's saying we need these metrics. We need to have specific goals by which we can measure our performance. Now, he missed out the elephant in the room, which is mass migration. We just found out the other day that we had 906,000 people come in the country, net migration a year to June 2023, which, I mean, is just absolutely gobsmacking. Brits are crying out for a solution to this. So when it came to the press questions, they obviously all asked him, well, why don't we have a metric by which to measure migration? Can we set a target? Can we set a, say, 100k cap? And then he's suddenly saying, oh, no, mass migration, it's important, but that definitely doesn't need a metric. He was sort of suggesting, it obviously doesn't need a metric. And I'm like, hang on, surely you need to have, if you're going to plan with your infrastructure and whatnot for how many people are going to come in the country each year and how many homes you're going to build and all of the rest of it, you need to actually have a rough idea, a rough guide of how many people you want to be coming in the country each year. I mean, he says he wants to bring the numbers down, but how far is he going to bring them down? Is he going to bring it from 900k down to only 850k and then say, woohoo, we did it, guys? It needs to come down a heck of a lot more than that.
And also, this is a government that live and die by metrics. They love a spreadsheet, they love a target, they love a database. That's how that kind of thinking. Gordon Brown did all, he thought if you get a nice web page and an intranet of everything, connect us all up. There's the tax office, the library, you'll put your little number in and all your details everything will be fantastic and nicely organised. And we've already seen, police targets, NHS targets, but for some reason, you mentioned immigration. What happened to this inner belief that everything needs a metric? It disappeared on this one subject.
Well, I think that there's a secret spreadsheet, Ian, that they're not showing us, and that's the spreadsheet. That's the spreadsheet where they say, we said we're going to grow the economy. How can we do that? The easiest way, plug in more numbers to the labour force, i.e. bring in a load of people from abroad. And that's a really easy way to get some quick economic growth. So we can say that we did something. And I mean, that's what governments have done for years. Economists have recommended for years and years that very easy way to grow the economy. Obviously, we've had an issue with productivity for many years. The easy sticking plaster on that is to just bring more people in. So Keir Starmer you know, he doesn't really seem to have many principles. He's called flip-flop Starmer for a reason, and he'll say what's trendy. So he stood in front of the podium, not today, but when was it, last week, saying how, you know, the Tories have basically got blood on their hands for this horrible mass migration that they did on purpose, and you know they made huge mistakes. I'm not defending the Tories here, but I think that he was just saying that for show. I have not seen in action. I will judge people by their actions, not their words. What actions has he taken on smashing the gangs on illegal migration?
He can't. I mean, it's not. It's kind of even out of his hands, the smashing the gang thing. Look, every country already. I keep mentioning the UK, France, Germany, Belgium, North European countries in particular, have all got their sort of intelligence services and their home affairs departments looking for bad people. It was already a huge criminal offence. It's organised crime. That's nothing new. Saying smashing the gangs just sounds... It makes him sound a bit simple, to put it bluntly, because it doesn't mean anything very much. I mean, everybody, if you find a guy that is, you know, facilitating thousands of people onto boats, then you're not going to go, hello, mate, you know, we're going to let you go. Oh, no, we can't now because Keir Starmer wants to smash the gang. I mean, it's already a huge criminal offence that will see you in jail for a long, long time. What people want is the coalface of immigration to be dealt with. People who are coming over on a daily basis, hundreds and hundreds a week across the channel. And then there's the legal immigration. And the only thing I wonder that might scupper your beliefs, my beliefs, Chloe, and the beliefs of lots of people here, is if, you know, a big bean counter in the civil service came along and said, look, we happen to agree with you. We don't, you know, 1 million people coming here perfectly legally. They've been given the big old rubber stamp from the government. They're allowed to be here. They've got a visa. They've got a permit to work, whether they work in the NHS, whether they work in social care, teaching, or whether they're whatever it happens to be. If we don't have those people, the crisis we will have in the job market is so big that you've got to be careful what you wish for, because we're not going to suddenly replace all of those immigrant visas with Indigenous workers who are suddenly going to take on the jobs in care homes and elsewhere where we need this labour. That's my fear, that is the answer, and the Tories knew it, Starmer knows it, which is why they don't say much about it.
Well, look, if we have a very targeted system where we very specifically target the people that we need, and we're constantly monitoring our economy, various different sectors, figuring out where there are gaps, where we need people, then the people that we will be bringing in will be net contributors to our economy. Again, it still needs to be a reasonable number, but you could have net migration of 0 and still have 500,000 people coming in each year to contribute to our economy, because 500,000 Brits are leaving each year, right? Net migration of 0 does not mean nobody coming in. That still allows us to bring tons of people into this country. I think you just got to be very, very specific about who you are bringing in so you don't have those problems. I think a difficulty the Home Office perhaps has is if you ask people, do you think my immigration is too high? Most of them will say yes. But then when you ask them about any specific sector, they will all say, oh, yes, we definitely need more people there. So I think they're going and they're consulting various different industries and they're all saying we need more people, we need more people. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's just not sustainable, the rate at which people are coming in. Of course, we need some skills from abroad. No one is suggesting that we don't. But as I say, a net migration level of 0 for a while, I think would be a good thing. And that still means 500,000 people coming in each year if 500,000 people still continue to leave the UK each year.
Correct. Let's talk about people who get deported from the UK. One man in particular, Mr. Verkauskas, he's a Lithuanian fella. He's a naughty boy, is this man. 5 times he's been deported from the UK because they deport him. They say, off you go, you toe rag, doing bad stuff round here. You're gone. All rubber stamped by the judge. Keeps coming back in, this fella. Then he commits some more crimes and they get rid of him again. He was arrested in Peterborough, discovered in breach of deportation orders, sentenced to 2 years in prison for immigration violations. Authorities confirmed he would be deported for the 6th time after serving his sentence. What the heck is going on?
I mean, this is just madness. But I think for me, the most surprising thing about this story is the fact that we actually managed to deport him that many times. I'm surprised the ECHR didn't stop us from deporting, this poor refugee back to a potentially unsafe place.
Indeed. Well, I looked at the other figure as well in this story. A recent study showing the UK has Europe's largest population of illegal immigrants, estimated to be between 594,000 to 745,000, surpassing France and Germany. And we're an island, for God's sake.
Yeah. I mean, we have the sea between us and France, but that should be somewhat of a border.
You'd think.
Make it difficult, yeah, but it doesn't exactly seem to be working. And the reality is that we offer the best care for these migrants. I mean, we've just seen yesterday, I don't know if you saw, Ian, a video went round of a very fancy castle that they're putting migrants up in. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I checked out their website. You can have lovely weddings there. It's a beautiful venue, and that's where we're putting them up. So they are treated the best here of all of the European countries. So that is why they want to come here. Also, another thing, aside from the hotels and the money and whatnot, surprising compared to what the media says, is saying that we're all, far-right racists. This country, Britain, we are the least racist country in Europe. And so a lot of them actually do want to come here because they feel like they won't experience any racism here. Yeah. Whereas in France, they actually do still experience a decent amount of racism there, sadly.
Well, what about this story? It has a kind of connection to this. Children account for half of all counter-extremism referrals. 53% of the 6,900 referrals to the PREVENT programme in the year ending March this year, 53% were kids. 300 of them were kids under the age of 10. Age 11 to 15 made up 42%. 42% of that group were extreme right-wing, 27% of Islamist radicalisation referrals. I smell a bit of a rat in these stats.
I mean, the question is, how do people typically get referred to the PREVENT programme? Yeah. If it is, say, teachers in school telling authorities, then you could expect there to be...
If you go to a school in Haringey and you mentioned the word Tommy Robinson in the playground, someone's going to report you to PREVENT.
Yeah, so this could be the case, and when you're an adult, you haven't got supervision from teachers constantly who are watching what you say and your every move and whatnot. So that might have something to do with it. Yeah. However, what I will say is that children are very, very impressionable. If you are an Islamist who wants to target and brainwash somebody, a teenager, a child, they are your best bet. They are the most open to new ideas. They are the most easily impressionable. Whenever you want to teach someone, I teach maths, I teach sports. Anytime you're teaching somebody something, it is so much easier to teach a child than it is an adult. Adults are far more stuck in their ways. And you see this, it's the same strategy of all the different terrorist groups, ISIS, Hamas, etc. They all try to indoctrinate the children basically as early as they can speak, because they're totally impressionable. Yeah. And then it sticks with them for life, because what you learn as a child, it's very imprinted on your brain. It's very hard to get it out of them, and that ensures that their ideology will carry on for generations. So if someone comes and kills the terrorist leaders, all will still be okay, because the next generation will carry it on. So it is scary. And a lot of people, obviously, one thing we worry about with illegal migration is potential terrorists coming across on small boats, undocumented. We don't know who they are, and that absolutely is a concern, but people need to realise that that is not the only way that terrorists end up in this country. A heck of a lot of the time it is actually indoctrination via terrorists contacting people on social media, young people on social media. Shamima Begum, 15-year-old, went off to Syria after being indoctrinated. So yeah, this definitely is something to worry about, making sure that obviously parents play a role in monitoring what their kids are looking at online, and that needs to be something to think about as well.
Spot on. Chloe, thank you as ever. Chloe Dobbs with us here.